Dark Souls is hard. I fucking lose my mind. At least that's what the internet would lead you to believe. Hello everyone, my name is Nick, and today we're going to be talking about Dark Souls. In case you don't know what Dark Souls is, I'll give you a brief breakdown. You essentially start as some character and you get some gear and you get off into the world. As far as I'm concerned, your only goal is to kill shit and figure out how to progress next, but you know, that's just my first impression. I can't move. Oh, this isn't going well. Oh, this isn't going well. Oh, this isn't going well. By killing things, you get souls, which are essentially currency used to buy items, to upgrade your character, to repair your gear. And when you die, you lose all your souls. If you make it back to where you died, you can take them back. But again, if you die twice in a row or you don't collect your souls, they're gone forever. Since when? Since when? Since when? Since when? How? What? So as you traverse the world, you'll find these bonfires which replenish your HP to full and fill up your Estus flask, which essentially is the only way you can heal away from bonfires, at least as far as I'm aware. They also act as checkpoints where you will respawn upon death, and a fun feature is that using a bonfire will respawn all the enemies in the map. Just keep that in mind for later. Who the fuck are you? As you progress, there's increasingly challenging bosses with unique movesets that you have to beat to progress in the game, which every game is basically like that. That makes sense. So as a new player, what actually makes Dark Souls hard? Because overall, it seems like a pretty straightforward game, and in the grand scheme of things, it is. So is it that the bosses are too difficult? Well, no, not really. They are challenging and they are hard, but don't get me wrong, I expect them to be, right? If the boss was easy, the game would be kind of boring. And, you know, I want to be challenged, right? Especially in a game like this. If the boss was easy, there'd be no rewarding feeling for beating it. I fucking hate this game. I fucking hate this game. Is it that the combat is super mechanical? I wouldn't say so. That it's essentially just a couple of attacks, some rolling. You could use a shield if you want, but it's not like I'm pushing a million buttons to get stuff done. Yeah, spacing could be a bit precise, but it's not really the worst thing, at least not in my opinion. I don't know why my guy fucking moans. Oh my god. Oh my... So what makes Dark Souls actually difficult? Well, to me, it's two primary things. One, being the clunkiness of some of the game mechanics, like wall hitting and parrying, which I despise greatly. And two, the absolute horrid spawn locations, aka the locations of the bonfires. I'm gonna go more into this, but please, for the love of God, remember, I only have like 4 to 5 hours of gameplay, and I know I'm bad. Don't tell me to get good. I am very much aware. That is the general consensus around issues with these games. That being said, let's talk about wall hitting. Terrible. Fuck. I don't know why, but it feels like the enemies know something I don't. In a hallway, a narrow passageway, a stairwell, fighting is absolutely brutal. It is not a good time. And it's not necessarily because it's hard, because again, the controls are generally the same. It just feels bad to do. It's like the enemies adhere to a different set of rules in the physical existence. And if you don't know what I'm talking about the fun mechanic where if you're near a wall, your sword has a chance to clank with the wall, effectively throwing a hit, leaving you open to get hit without doing anything to the enemy. Which obviously is not a good thing. While this makes sense in the real world, my sword can't go through a wall, it somehow feels like, maybe it's a bias, I don't know, but it really feels like it affects the player, aka me, more than it does the enemies. So if I position bad, I get punished. But if I position well and push the enemies close to a wall, it doesn't really matter. And I don't really like that. I feel like you should be rewarded for good positioning, but it's either you get punished for bad or you just play the game normally if you position well, which, I mean, fair enough, I guess. A good example of this would be this motherfucker in the stairwell, where he also has high ground on top of being in a narrow passageway in a staircase, which, fair enough, hard fight, I get it, and the easy solution would be to bait him out, but I am very stupid and dumb. But as you could see, the spear thingy he's using doesn't seem to be connecting with me, but still does damage, and anytime I try to do something, it just kind of fails. But you know, I digress. Get good, Nick. I understand. On the subject of clunky mechanics, I don't know what human designed this parry system, but I don't like them. I don't know how to fucking parry. Now, I understand parrying is meant to be difficult. If the parrying system in this game was easy, the game would be very easy. I've played a number of games with parry mechanics. I think Dark Souls is the first one I've fully given up on, just because if you miss a parry, it's the equivalent of hitting the enemy with a pool noodle, which, as you can imagine, isn't very effective. I think in the multiple hours I've played this game, I've successfully parried 2 attacks. Parrying in this game is also dog shit. I don't know how you parry in this game. This little fucking shitty shield wag. Here, let me try. Okay. Oh, I did it. That was accidental. And when I did, I didn't even realize it, since the indicator isn't visual, it's not audio, it just kind of slows the game down to a halt. Fuck. No, I don't. Oh, I'm immune during that? Okay. I don't really know why that happened. And it's just more so confusing than anything else. But this could just be a me thing. And again, I'm aware this game isn't as modern, so, you know, it is what it is. But putting game mechanics aside, I think the thing that makes the game really hard is the location of the bonfires in accordance with the bosses. Listen, hear me out. You're playing the game, and from a bonfire onwards, which is your spawn point, so I say bonfire onwards, after a couple of deaths, you eventually find the next boss. Once you find the boss, you're almost certainly going to die to said boss, since you don't know its moveset, you don't know how to fight it yet, which is fine. But then you respawn at the campfire, and you have to do that route to the boss every single time to challenge it, right? Which gets really annoying, because you have to fight through all the minions and enemies to get there, which in later sections means the enemies are way stronger, so if you screw up, you're taking damage. And the problem is, if you take damage, you have to burn your Estus flasks, which means you don't have them for the boss fight. So if you're on your way to the boss and you get hit, well, you either use your Estus flasks and have a worse chance of beating the boss, or you go back to your bonfire to heal, where if you remember from the start of the game, or the start of the video, that if you heal, all the enemies respawn anyways. This makes it so if you get hit on your way to the boss, you either have to restart by running all the way back, or just dying, which is most times faster. And this process of doing the same thing over and over and over and over again can be some of the most frustrating shit I've had to deal with, because it's not fun. At some point it's not challenging, it's just asking you to be very precise in what you do just before you even get to start to fight the boss. Let's take this very relevant section of the game, and again, most of you are gonna know this part because it's at the beginning of the fucking game, but you have this section in a hallway, because of course it's in a hallway, where you have 20 or so of these little fucks that just run at you and slash like maniacs and do a lot of damage. You have to precisely fight them all in a way where you don't take damage to progress to the boss. As you can imagine, doing this over and over and over again isn't really fun, because they're not hard enemies, they're not fun to fight against because they're really annoying, they just run at you. And as you can imagine, fighting the boss is always going to be more fun than fighting the stuff before the boss, so I don't really see why you can't just spawn at the boss. Yes, that makes the game harder, I guess, but it's more so just annoying and frustrating, because I know I could do it, I've done it before, but the game's just requiring me to take that same fight with perfect precision, or else I'm getting punished for the boss that's already beating my ass into the ground, right? So it's just not a good time overall. And that's basically it. Please keep in mind this video is obviously subjective, but also I don't think I'm wrong from the perspective of a new player. If you have 500 hours and you're gonna tell me off, go fuck yourself, I don't care. And yeah, the game overall is okay. It's not my cup of tea. There's just some very unfun mechanics and some things that could be improved upon. And maybe they are improved upon in the newer games. I don't know. I have not played them. But yeah, take everything I said with a grain of salt. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye. Not even locked on. No, 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 no. I didn't need to draw. Fuck this game.